Hi, and welcome to the webinar on the Arts and Society Master's Program. My name is Marijke de Valk. I'm a coordinator at the Arts and Society Program, and I will be your host this afternoon in the webinar session. I will be joined later by Kate Armstrong, who is a current student in the Master Program. On the chat, we also have one of our colleagues, Hanneke Lenders, who is here to help you with any questions you may have during the session. So if anything comes up, just type your question into the chat box at the bottom of the page, and she will do her best to answer those questions by chat for you. At the end of the talks by myself and Kate, there will also be an opportunity to ask questions during the Q&A. If you have any questions that you already know now, please chat them, type them in the chat box, and Hanneke will pass them on to us to answer after having given the presentation. Finally, if you have any other questions that you do not think of right now or that may come up later, there's always the possibility to send them to us in a private message by mail after the webinar has ended. So let's start. Yes, this is us. I have a background in media studies. And Kate will be introducing herself later on. This is a picture of Hanneke, our host on chat. You're probably here because you are interested in the program and you may have questions if this is the program for you. Well, I have 3 questions for you to begin with. Do you believe in the value of arts? Do you have the ambition to contribute to society? And do you want to invest 1 year to further understand what the force of art can be to engage people in society? If your answer to these 3 questions is yes, this program is of interest to you. It has been designed to prepare what we call the cultural professionals of today and the future. The cultural world is in a rapid state of transformation. Globalization, technologization, urbanization, radical changes in the social landscape. And all these transformations demand of the cultural professionals of today and to tomorrow to really know what art can do to steer society in the good direction. The program combines theoretical training with a practical orientation to prepare our students for such a role. We do so by working with local examples, but also drawing on national cases and dealing with international trends as well. From another practical side, you can summarize the program as, like I said, a 1-year program. So it consists of 60 credits, and I will talk a bit more about how your curriculum will look like in this 1 year. It's important to know that it's completely taught in English, and that we are a selective master. The capacity of the program is a maximum of 40 students. So all applicants will be part of a selection procedure, and a maximum of 40 students will begin coming September. Let me tell a bit more about what we think are the particular strengths of this program. Firstly, it's the international orientation. This comprises of two main things. On the one hand, we are international because we target an international student group. So the students in the program are from a variety of backgrounds. They come from different countries, and this is something that we think is really important, because the diversity within the student population will be a great opportunity for everybody to learn from each other and the different cultural backgrounds that everybody brings in. On the other hand, we are international in the orientation of the program itself. We combine, like I said, local cases with national ones, and keeping a close eye on what is happening in the in an international context. A second strength is related to our maximum capacity of 40 students. We think it is really important that our students have the opportunity, by participating in the program, to not only spend the year investing in their own personal development, but also investing a year in starting what is arts and society community that can help them in their future careers after graduation. To foster a sense of community amongst our students, it's important that the group is small, or at least not more than 40 students, and we offer opportunities for the students to work on group assignments and to convene outside the classroom as well. Both initiated by the teachers, and we also encourage them to develop initiatives of their own. A third key aspect of our program is what we term flexibility. This again comprises several elements. There is flexibility in shaping the program that is offered to suit your personal wishes. This is not possible in every course. There are compulsory courses that contain components of required topics and certain types of assessment. But the further you move along in the program, the more space students are being given to bring in their own topics and start specializing in themes and topics that are of specific interest to them. Flexibility also relates to a state of mind that we hope to nurture in our students, and that flexibility has to do with capacity to deal with all kinds of new problems and issues that come up in that art world that is in a constant state of transformation. We believe that in order to succeed in the art world today, one needs to have a certain skill set that allow people to navigate with the transformations. And that is something that is embedded in the didactic philosophy behind our programs. A fourth strength is related to the practical orientation of the program, which culminates in an internship. that students do. Throughout the Arts and Society program, we marry theory with practice because this is something that offers good opportunities for cross-fertilization. We believe that a sound graduate education is what the professional art world needs, without but then in engagement with actual things going on in the art world. So they constantly are talking to each other. Let me dedicate a couple of words to the setup of the program. There are 2 semesters. In the first semester, students take 6 courses of 5 credits each, 3 in block 1 and 3 in block 2. The courses in block 1 should be seen as the courses that lay the groundwork for the rest of the program. They tend to be a bit more broad in their setup than the courses that follow in the second block, that zoom in on specific topics and pick up on things that have been introduced in the first block. The courses that students take are divided into 3 strands. The first one is the researching art strands, where students learn how to design a research setup, which is then followed in the second block by a research lab that focuses on experimental ethnography as a specific tool of doing research. The second strand of courses is called Thinking Arts and Society. In the first foundational course, students will become familiarized with key concepts from the discourse, the academic discourse in thinking about arts and the role of arts in society. And in the second block, these concepts return, but then in discussions of specific issues that are going on in the art world today. The second strand of courses starts with a course called Writing Arts and Society, in which students deal with different types of texts that are used to talk about the role of arts in society, from policy text to legal text, critical text from journalists. And in the second block, there is a course called Producing Arts in Society, where the role of the creative producer is central. That course is offered as an elective, so students are also they also have the possibility to choose a course that is offered elsewhere in the university, that is to substitute the Producing Arts and Society course. That is the first semester. The second semester is completely dedicated to writing a master thesis and doing the internship. They can take place at the same time, both being conducted part-time, or they can take place after one and not another. This is something that is up to the wishes of the individual student. it's good to say a bit more about the internships, because we think it is an important way for students to prepare themselves for that role in the cultural sector. We have a network of partner organizations and contacts in both in the Netherlands and abroad that we approach with the question if they we have partners that we that offer internship positions that have been consulted with us. So there are each year there will be positions that are that we have mediated offered to the students, but they are also able to find internships that suit their own needs if we don't have anything that that is what they had in mind. So it's a mixed approach. We offer internship, but students are also welcome to look for internships themselves. On the slide, you see a couple of examples of internships organizations that students are placed at right now, or that we have contacts with. These range from festivals to funds and established cultural organizations like bigger museums to more grassroots initiatives that specialize in a niche. Why would you want to study in Utrecht? We have specialized staff. The Arts and Society team consists of people with different disciplinary backgrounds. We do not put emphasis on one particular form of arts. We try to have a broad scope and cover different art forms. And we accept students interested in and with a specialization in different artistic backgrounds. We have in Utrecht is a university that invests in partnerships with cultural organizations. The Arts and Society program is one of the master programs that is doing that as well. Utrecht is attractive for its international orientation. There are special services for international students. And finally, the city of Utrecht itself is also an interesting place to live. It's conveniently located in the center of the Netherlands. It has a very extensive cultural scene with lots of interesting things happening on a daily basis that students who live here can benefit from. At this moment, I would like to invite Kate to come in. Hi, Kate.
Hello.
To share something with us about her experiences in the program so far.
Yeah, so I'm Kate, and I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I came to Europe to study this program at Utrecht. And basically, I actually have a background in design, so I have a Bachelor of Design and have worked for around 4 years in cultural management. and decided that I wanted to gain further knowledge and gain theoretical knowledge in the arts, and chose this program because it's situated so specifically between the arts and society in an academic framework, but with a practical orientation. So for me, in choosing this master, that is definitely of benefit. It's very much something that has allowed me to really progress my knowledge, my skills, and also find my own ideology and really work on that. So kind of practically day to day as a student in this program, it's been very fulfilling to be surrounded every day by a very international, very engaged audience of students. And that extends through the practical lessons, which are usually kind of 3 days a week, and then also to extracurricular activities that are either, as Marika said, organised by us as students or by the teaching staff. Yeah, so the actual setup of the program has been really beneficial to be able to engage in the theoretical texts that we are given, but also for me to be able to progress my own knowledge and do my own research within the field. Yeah, so that practicality of the program and the ability to apply the research and the knowledge that we gain has been fantastic. And it's really across a lot of different platforms. So as Marika said, we do group work, but we also have blogs that we create for some ethnographic fieldwork projects. We've done research with and interviews with practitioners within the field. We've had excursions. We've been really immersed in this great cultural space that is Utrecht and the Netherlands. So perhaps you're interested in what the actual city of Utrecht is like for a student. And in my opinion, I think it's a fantastic place to live. It's very accessible, as Marika said, and it really allows you to be involved in the student population, which is grand, diverse, and really, really vibrant. The other thing that has been fantastic is being able to actually engage in this student life through the program, in developing our own projects, and also through becoming friends as this community of master's students. Yeah, so I think that if you are somebody who is interested in doing arts and society, this is a place where for 1 year you can dedicate some time to really understanding the impact that you can have as a cultural practitioner, and maybe diversify skills into a theoretical framework if you're like me and from a practical background, or conversely, if you're from an academic background, it provides you great experience to be able to work more practically.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Kate. Welcome very much. We move on to a slide about the career perspectives. We envision our students to move on into different realms. So while this is a professional master, very much focused on the good marriage between theory and practice, we think it's also possible with an MA degree in our program to move on in academic career if you're interested in that. So if you have ambitions to do a PhD and on a topic that relates to the arts and society theme, then this is a good preparation to continue on that track. Many of our students, however, will be attracted to the program specifically because it allows them to further their theoretical knowledge, but in such a way that they can take that into their professional career afterwards. And we see our students working in different realms, in government, in the cultural sector, but also in the creative industry. We are a new master, so the current cohort of students is the first cohort that is doing the Arts and Society Master, and therefore I cannot give you a list of concrete examples yet of where our students have ended up. But let me see. I want to dedicate some time to talk about the entry requirements for this program. This is one of the things that I, as a coordinator, get the most questions about in my inbox. So let me just quickly run through the application procedure. In order to be eligible for this master, you need to have a bachelor degree. That can be from a Dutch university or a non-Dutch university. If you are a Dutch student and you have a so-called HBO degree, you do not immediately qualify for the Arts and Society program, and you would have to do a pre-master before starting the actual master program. You can still apply, and then we will assess your dossier on your eligibility to start such a pre-master track. There are 7 elements that we take into consideration when assessing the dossier. Firstly, that is your background. We look if you have a bachelor degree, and we also look at the field in which you have a bachelor degree. It's important for us that you have sufficient knowledge of the arts and society field, and the disciplinary backgrounds that are relevant for that field in order to make a head start with the program. If you do not have a bachelor degree in a field like media studies, literary studies, or art history, or any of the other disciplines that are listed on our website, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not eligible for the master, because we take more elements into consideration. On our website, it says that if you do not have a bachelor degree in one of these from one of these disciplines, you need to have a minimum of 15 credits of courses being taken on arts and culture topics. If you do not have that, this is something that can also be compensated with other elements in your dossier. So in looking at students' background, the academic background is one of the things that we take into consideration, and it's of course important. But the other one is the professional background. Our program is open to students who may have professional working experience after completing their bachelor degree. And very often it is this specific working experience in the cultural sector that compensates a lack of academic focus on arts and society topics. So if you are preparing your dossier and you do not have a bachelor degree in these fields, but you do have a lot of experience, professional experience in the sector, either paid or on a volunteer basis, this is something that you should emphasize. The second element we look at is GPA, grade average. It is an important indicator of talent for us. Your letter of motivation is really important. It gives us a sense of the drive that brings students to the program, and drive and commitment are really good indicators if students will perform well in the program. We also ask every applicant to add a writing sample. This will allow us to assess your academic writing skills, and in some cases also your English language skills. Depending on your background, you will also be required to add an English language test. Finally, we ask everybody to add 2 letters of reference. And if you have professional experience next to your educational background, I would always recommend asking one of your professors to write one, and then someone who can attest of your professional skills as the second referent. The process of applying to the program focuses firstly on an assessment of all these elements that are in your dossier. It may be that an interview is also part of the selection procedure, but this is not always the case. If we have additional questions, or we think it is good to follow up on certain points, then we will invite candidates for an interview. The application deadline is April 1st. You will find more information about all these elements that I just talked about on the Arts and Society website. And if you have specific questions about that, I invite you to send them to me in a private message. I think that wraps up our presentation, and it means we can open up for the Q&A. Let us see where we are. I'm looking at some of the questions that have come in from you. The first one is posed by Gladys, and it's how can I make myself eligible to apply for this program? I don't have 15 credits on related studies. This is something that I think I just covered in my talk on the entry requirements. If you don't have the specific 15 credits, that doesn't mean you're not eligible to apply, but you do need to make clear in your letter of motivation how you compensate for that knowledge on the arts and cultural sector. For example, by referring to professional experience that you have. It may also be that you have taken courses that are not specifically labeled as an arts and society course, but you have dealt with topics within your courses. So then I would also advise you to make that clear how you have been committed to arts throughout your studies. Let me see. Another question that relates to that is by Anne Mieke, who writes, I'm very much interested in the art world in general, but I have a specific background as a dancer. And the question is if the Arts and Society program is open to students with a dance background. Yes, it is. We do not exclude any arts. We actually have three people in our current program who have a background in a dance. And when we select students, we value the diversity in disciplinary backgrounds. Maybe Kate can say something about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's one of the benefits is that everybody does come from a very diverse background. So it allows for some really fantastic interdisciplinary work, interdisciplinary themes and ideas come through in a lot of the group work that happens. And I think if you do have a practical degree, it can be of great benefit within the program as well.
Okay, here's a question posted by Elia. He is wondering in what ways incoming international students can prepare for the master before they begin. What we are doing now is compiling a list of a reading list with tips for students of books and articles that we feel are a good preparation to start the program. Books that then aren't necessarily covered anymore in classes, but we think are a good introduction before you start. So that is how you could prepare for the program before you arrive in Utrecht. Kate, maybe you want to address this question?
Yes. So it has here that Ariane has asked a question about my design background. So she asked, do you still focus inside the master on design or visual arts or different disciplines as well? And firstly, I can say that my design background is extremely useful within the work that I do because I'm constantly bringing not only that, but my own experiences in the field to my approach. But I'm perhaps more focused on the cultural production side of things. So Marika mentioned that we have an elective called Producing Arts and Society. So this one, when I applied, was very much something I was interested in, and it proved to be very interesting in actually engaging with people within the field. So whilst, yes, I do definitely have that background, we have a very vast range of different cultural experiences when we're working in the program.
Okay, I have a question from Peter related to community. Are you looking for a specific kind of blend of students, and are they supposed to work together in any specific way? Well, we don't have the perfect blend in mind where we accept students, other than that we think diversity is a good thing. So we are sensitive to diversity in terms of gender, in terms of cultural backgrounds, in terms of artistic specializations, but it's we do not have marked certain positions in the program for students with a specific background. So we want it to be a blend, but what blend it will be depends on the applicants of any given year.
If I can say for this year, I think the blend that we have has been very, very nice to be a part of. And I think that's definitely for me been one of the most fantastic things of the course. I mean, we have people from cultural history background, linguistics background, professional like dancers or musicians. It's been a very great, great opportunity to create this community from very diverse group of people. So.
And there's a question from Gladys. How does this MA differ from the media performance studies? And can I also explain a bit more the difference between the research and an academic master? I think with the media performance studies, do you mean the research master in media performance studies? I'm not completely sure. Probably, yes. The main difference between the research master and our one-year master is that research masters are more explicitly focused on preparing the students for a academic career. So there's a relatively bigger emphasis on research skills and on developing the academic research profile of the individual students. The main difference between a research master and our program in that sense also is that a research master is a 2-year program, and there is one more year within the scope of that program to even deepen further that academic training. Yes, both one-year master and research masters, they can lead to PhD afterwards. Our program is distinguished from the research master through its focus on the link with the professional practice in that 1 year. There is a question by Evelyn. Is there a focus on media in this master? No, we do not. We do not specifically focus on one type of art form. It is, of course, the case that that the faculty that teaches on the program, they all have their own background. So if you have me as a teacher, for example, I come from media studies and more specifically a film background. So I'm more prone to bring in slightly more examples that have to do with film than my fellow teacher who has a theater background, or someone who has a background in anthropology or community art. Neither of the teachers, by the way, focuses only on their own disciplinary interest. We also give ample attention to the art forms, to the other art forms, and to the arts in general. I think we're running out of time, so let me wrap up by thanking you all very much for joining this webinar and for contributing to the Q&A with your questions. If there are any questions that we haven't covered, please feel free to get in touch with me afterwards. And if you want to have another look at this video, a link to it will be posted on our website. And finally, I would like to invite you to fill in the small survey that will be sent to you with questions about your experience of the webinar and suggestions for improvements. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to see you soon in Utrecht.